everyone. Welcome to the latest installment of MSP Business School. As always, I'm Brian Doyle, and with me today, again, three amigos.
2 for 2.
Look at that.
Tim McNeil and Rob Rogers. Gentlemen, welcome.
Yeah, how you
It's
doing?
great to be here, Brian.
And I thought as the new baseball season is upon us, what better time to talk about huddles?
There you go.
Of course.
Because,
Yeah.
when you think baseball,
Go
you
hand
think
in
nothing
hand.
but a huddle, right?
It's a
Yeah.
big
No
huddle.
sense that we save this one to the fall, but for football season. But all kidding aside, a lot of guys, a lot of companies like to do daily stand-ups. They do their huddles, but there's usually not a lot. I've found there's not a lot of structure to them. A lot of times they're very haphazardly run.
Yeah.
A lot of in the moment, not a lot of pre-planning, and not a lot of effectiveness. Many of those huddles, I was like, this could have been satisfied with an email or really nothing. and we would have been better off. So I know you guys have got a very standardized process for running your sales huddles with all your, sales reps kind of cascading across the US that you virtually manage. Maybe you can give us some insight into, how you structure that huddle and make sure it's effective for all users on a call like that.
Yeah. I mean, that's something that we've worked very hard on, especially since COVID hit. So I can take you kind of through the history of how we started our huddles when we started the
Beautiful.
sales management service, and then kind of where it ended. So, we came from a company that we used to have daily huddles, stand-up huddles every morning, and it was usually company-wide. Everybody said what they had going on for that day, and if they accomplished everything the previous day, right? And that's an important aspect of doing a daily huddle, especially if you're doing it company-wide. Where we started to morph into specific sales huddles with the sales management side that we do, we initially started out doing them individually, and we did them in a very similar format. What did you do yesterday? What did you have on your list for yesterday that you accomplished? What's still open? And what are you doing today? What we found was that was fine, but there's a really effective way to insert just quick education and quick reinforcement on a huddle with the salesperson. So we took those. Now, granted, we have a unique situation. We can pull in salespeople from different areas of the country. Really what we tend to focus on now is bringing in salespeople to a huddle, and we go over, what do you have? What did you do yesterday? What are you going over today? Or what do you have on the docket for today? But also it's very much an educational format. Specifically,
I was going to say, give us an example of what a quick tidbit of education or reinforcement might look like.
Yeah, I mean, it can be anything from reinforcement from doing role plays and having everybody on the call go around and say one good thing and one bad thing, or one good thing and one thing that can be improved on a call. It could be something as simple as, everybody knows security is a hotter and hotter topic, and it could be just focusing on a specific topic within security, whether it's insurance or just more regulations coming down on specific industries, things like that, right? I mean, it really can't spread the gamut. I guess, Rob, I know we do more, and I know you can add a lot more. So.
Yeah. So one of the things that we make sure, and this is part of that accountability process that we have spoken about before, Brian, is when they're saying what they accomplished yesterday, part of that is their numbers. I made 60 calls yesterday, and my appointment with Johnson & Johnson fell through. I'm trying to reschedule. That's what you did yesterday, right? I don't need to know all the other stuff. Just quick, 5 seconds. I made 80 calls. My appointment with Johnson & Johnson failed. They ghosted me. I'm going to try and reach out to them again. Boom. The manager has that in their head. They're good to go. Now, what do they have on the docket today? I'm going to try and get back a hold of Johnson & Johnson. I got to make 80 calls, and I have to do this as well. And that's it for that part. Now, when Tim was talking about the role play, there's two pieces of it. You either do the prospecting piece of the role play or you focus on objection handling in the role play. Don't try and have them do an entire role play. You don't have time for that. But have them try and get past a gatekeeper and get shut down by the gatekeeper, and then role play that and tell them one good thing and one thing that you like to try, right? And that's how you're doing the role play. Our favorite thing, and this is going to be kind of a shout out here, it's commercial, but our favorite things in our morning huddles now is MSP Sparks. Once a week, we get those MSP Sparks, and those come into our meetings, and we use those. If we don't have any educational pieces for that week, like Tim was talking about, cyber insurance or something like that, MSP Sparks comes into our feed, and then we have that information, and we talk about that, and then we role play that information. Right? They get that information, and then we're able to role play it a little bit, just to have a conversation with prospects about that tidbit that we just found out. Those are two of the biggest things that we find value in helping those reps. And rep can never be off camera. If you're doing this through Zoom or you're doing this through Teams because your person's working from home that day, camera on always. Camera's never allowed to be off.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up actually. That specific point. Everybody's on camera. And just to add to that MSP Sparks, I mean the great thing about the MSP Sparks, a lot of times they have stats and figures that are easy to grasp onto, right?
Yeah.
It's like $10 a month. I mean, we're talking almost nothing for the content that they provide you. And as a salesperson, oftentimes who is struggling to find that next reason why they should reach out to that company for the 7th, 8th, 15th time, it's nice to have something in the back of your head that you can pull from, that you've been talking about in a huddle, just a quick stat on whatever it might be. When, if and when you do talk to that decision maker.
Yeah.
Awesome. So we've now gone through, we're in our huddle. You've done the check on what are you doing today? What'd you do yesterday with metrics? We've given a little bit of education, done some role playing, really kind of level set those that were struggling in that call. And, and from there, we've also made sure that everybody's in person or on camera, right? So no behind the phone, no, I'm taking it from my car kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
So,
yeah. I mean, like, I understand.
Attentive.
Yeah, like Brian, like sometimes that happens, right? You
Yeah,
got an early
there are
morning
times.
meeting with your leads group or something. Of course, it's going to be in the car, and like I get it. But as a policy, face to face, right? It's whether through video camera or through face to face.
Yeah, and I mean, again, I think you're measuring the anomaly with people too. If they're consistently on the go at that time, it's different than if they, once every 2 weeks they're like, "Hey, I'm heading to XYZ. Can I take it from the car?" Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Totally.
Yeah. And here's one of the things that we typically find is a stumbling block, Brian. We get successes and we celebrate the successes in these morning huddles. But what we fail to remember is that success, if it's a good success, like today we had a rep that got 8,600 a month in reoccurring revenue. Not only is that celebrated in the morning huddle, but also in the company meeting, because not everybody in the morning huddle is going to be in the company meeting, and reps, we like the accolades, right? It's one of the things that we like the spotlight, and we like it when it's shined on us, and it feels good to let everybody else know that, hey, this person did really well today, and that's in the company meeting. So don't forget, just because you celebrated it in the morning huddle with them and 2 other people, that you didn't do it in the company meeting at the end of the month or whenever you do your company meetings.
Yeah, we used to actually do blasts of sales success as an email and celebrate it in the company meeting. Like, as soon as I came in, hey, Tim went out and just, hey, if you see Tim in the hallways, give him a high five because Tim just stepped up and brought an extra $100,000 into our company today.
Yeah.
We want to thank Tim for his sales contribution, and make sure the engineering team knows we got a new customer that's going to be coming your way, right? And that's how we used to kind of introduce it, to make sure that these techs who don't understand the sales process can understand what the meaning is
Yeah.
of the sales process as well. And then, of course, we'd incorporate it into the company meeting, but you also don't want news to go with where the sales rep can't get some immediate feedback too,
Yeah.
right? You know,
Well
and,
said.
Yeah.
you know, get them that immediate feedback, and then we get to celebrate one more time a month later, right? You know, or 3 weeks later, 2 weeks later, however that cadence falls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well said.
Yeah. And if, depending on the size of your company, that can and will be something that if everybody in your company is in huddle, that should 100% be celebrated during that morning huddle.
Yep.
Because you know, sometimes it's going to warrant having a separate daily huddle with a salesperson. Sometimes you may only have time to do a morning huddle with your entire company if you're 10 people, 12 people, right?
Yeah.
So just always make sure that is celebrated. That's a big one.
Yeah.
So
That's how you improve culture. I mean, that
Yeah.
is you know me, Brian, like I am big into the whole culture thing. And that is one really strong way to ensure that no silos are being formed between, you know, tech and sales right there.
Yeah.
So is there anything else you include in your huddle? Or is that really the genesis of it, those items that we just spoke of? You know, what did you do today? What were you not able to accomplish? Education, celebration, and always on camera. Those are the items that we've gone through. Anything else that's part of a huddle?
So from my end, one thing that I think is very effective, we talked about the role play and breaking out the role play, whether it's a decision maker, gatekeeper, different scenarios, different times, different industries. Pulling a call and listening to it. You know, find a call, and this is not an everyday thing. Once a week, maybe, you know, once a week, at least every other week. Find a call that is, let's just call it 3 minutes plus, right? And sometimes they're good, sometimes they're not. And this is a good time for your rep to self-diagnose what they feel is a good call and a bad call. You know, on a Wednesday at 3:07, I had a really good call with this person, or I had a really not so good call. And you make a note, you pull that call, and that's what you listen to in the huddle. And everybody listens to it together. And then, very much like when you're doing a role play, what's one thing that they did well? What's one thing that needs to be improved on?
Beautiful.
Yeah. I mean, like these guys are professionals. Like sports guys, they watch tape, right? They watch the tape of the previous week to understand what they were doing and trying to improve. We have to do the same things as sales reps and sales managers, and it just makes people better, right?
Yeah.
Because when you see what you did wrong, that stings. Right? You know, it's hard. And when you do something right and somebody says, well done, that was you did that. And so it makes you feel good. So it sticks with you better. That's number one. And the final thought that I'll leave you here with, Brian, is it's not all just an education piece and, you know, accountability piece and, you know, making sure everybody's doing what they're doing. You're also watching. And that's why the camera always has to be on. You're looking at the rep to see, are they engaged? Are they looking off to their second screen? Are they looking down at their phone all the time? You're just trying to understand where their head's at when they don't think anybody's looking, right? And so when you're having these meetings and you can see somebody's looking at the other screen, you can see somebody's on their phone all the time or completely disengaged with the meeting. That's it's not a red flag, but it's something that you need to keep track of and see if this is something that you need to address as you're moving forward.
Yeah.
So, you know, listener, I think you just got a lot of great principles of a good morning huddle. And, you know, when we talked at the top of the conversation about, you know, the huddle that was just wasted air, it's because there isn't these little piece parts going into it, right? You know, the what did you do today? What do you do, or what did you accomplish yesterday? Conversation should be in every huddle, and you'll be amazed how many I've been in that never look back at yesterday. It's just, what are we doing today? Conversation.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. Yeah.
But I do like this concept of kind of mixing up some content to keep people engaged, whether it be a role play, pulling a call, and, you know, as you mentioned, you know, bringing in, you know, an inspirational quote or something else, celebrating a win or dissecting a loss. This is how you keep people intrigued daily, and they don't come in knowing, you know, the other part of this is knowing what you expect as the leader. You know, I'd have guys when you know, we all are guilty of going into, you know, cruise control at different spots in our careers. And there was a moment where I got into a little bit of cruise control on some of my stand-up meetings, and guys just came in and they knew exactly how to, basically give me what I want and get out,
Yep.
and that's something we want to make sure that doesn't happen as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
100%.
So I think we're getting near the end of our time. Maybe in another call, we can also talk about, here are the bad things you don't want to do in a huddle, and get deeper into that, because a lot of people might find that they're looking into the mirror when they listen to that a little bit.
Yeah.
But in the spirit today, we'll keep it on the upbeat side of things, and we'll close out with some positive things, which is really, if a stand-up done right can really benefit a team and really help them get out of the gate well each day.
Yeah.
And I appreciate you guys kind of sharing your process with all of us today, because I don't think anybody really spends as much time as they should defining that process.
Well, I'm glad we could help here, Brian. There's two. Go ahead, Tim.
No, I just said I agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, as we're parting ways here, Brian, I would leave people with two things. One, people respect what you inspect, right? And that's number one. That's how you get the accountability going and making sure that your reps are doing what you want them to do is number one. And probably the biggest thing, the biggest no-no I'll leave people with is chastise in private, praise in public. So in your morning huddle, you are never saying the negative side of what you're really thinking about that rep right now, because they didn't do what they were supposed to do. That's a private conversation between you and them. That's not for everybody else.
That's what one-on-ones are for.
That's what the one-on-one's for. That's when you bring out the bat.
Yeah.
That's great.
All right, fellas, that's about it for us today. We're going to have this one up on YouTube. So please jump over to YouTube, help us out there, give us a like, subscribe, and Brian, what are they going to do?
Smash that bell, man. We want to see some subscribers.
Yeah, we'd appreciate it, everybody. Thank you. This episode, of course, will be up on MSP Business School, where you always get it as well. And with that, fellas, that's it for today. I wish you guys all the best.
Have a great one, guys. Thank you.
Yeah, have a good one.
Take care.